Time to rejoin the conversation. And we are back, and okay, here we go. Party politics. So, first, what is so wrong with taking a knee? And I'm gonna start this conversation across the table from with Adrian. We were talking before the show, and I think Adrian has probably the most interesting perspective, being a black guy, having played football, and been in the military. I think you probably have the most rounded perspective. So I want to start that particular question with you. What is so wrong with taking a knee?
To me, nothing. I mean, but that's me speaking black Adrian. Speaking football Adrian, I would say I've never been in a football game where we were actually on the field during the national anthem. We were sitting down in the locker room, getting yelled at to get all amped up,
Right,
to go crack some heads.
So and we were talking about that. Was it yesterday?
It was 2009.
I was telling my niece, because she was reading some stories that were going on over the weekend, and I said, it wasn't always that the players were out on the field, and maybe they need to go back to that. I mean, that would alleviate it altogether. Yeah. Because and people are equating the national anthem with the American flag. Yeah. And they are two separate things.
So we've been obsessed with this, but so it started in 2009 when the military made a deal with the NFL. It was basically a marketing and advertising deal, which is why you see so much research of the flyovers on the color guards, all that kind of stuff, in exchange for getting the players out on the field.
Okay.
It was a big recruiting tool for the military.
Gotcha.
Because I was with you at first. We never came out on the field during the national anthem.
Never. It was more for the people sitting in the stands.
Yeah, you're right. So, we were just getting yelled at.
Yeah, we were trying to get amped up. From a military perspective, yeah, there is a great sense of pride when that song comes on. And my father was in the military. I had uncles, cousins, a ton of people in my family that were in the military. But I also was in the military. When I was going through boot camp, my bunkmate, the guy that was sleeping next to me, he was Muslim. So 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I would see him get up. Now, while we're trying to sleep, he gets up and he faces east and he prays. He prays. And to me, I think all of us were actually caught up in him because of his faithfulness just to his God.
Right.
We never ridiculed, we never judged.
Right.
And to see that we're finding selective patriotism right now is just weird.
I like that term, selective patriotism.
So it's I saw a guy on TV burning his football tickets because some guys were kneeling, some guys were standing. Again, it's selective. It's up to you. It's your personal view.
Right.
And I think a lot of people aren't listening to why. They're just seeing what.
Exactly.
So if you can see, if you're not listening, it has to take somebody of a minority background to take a knee from a celebrity or entertainment or an athletic standpoint to get anybody's attention, because the people that were in the projects protesting and looting and all this,
no, they're thugs, and criminals and druggies.
They don't know any better.
Yeah.
They have no behavior. They have behavior issues. They don't have fathers in their home. So we found all these different reasons to demonize this one group. Yeah. One guy takes a knee one year and completely changes the outlook of how we view sports. Now, this is the only thing we actually can come together on as a unit, sports. Because I can high five you and not even know you at a game because we're cheering for the same team.
Right.
But now, to find a divisive way to look at it would be the national anthem and who takes the knee and who doesn't. So. But it was all started by some idiot that is supposed to be in charge of keeping us unified as a country. And one tweet, that's it.
Well, I kind of agree with that, and I kind of don't, because, he wasn't in office when Kaepernick started it.
It was only
it's been, but it's been going on. This conversation, now he, instead of calming people, he made it worse.
Right.
But it was already there. People, all over my Facebook for the last year or 2 years, do you agree with, players not standing during the anthem, and you know, should they be paid, and you know, I mean, that's been going on for quite some time.
But last week you had 9 players kneel down. This week you had 182.
Right, but it's more because of what Trump said than what Kaepernick started.
I'm with it, but I'm not going to take anything away from what he started.
No, I don't.
The guy's $1 million campaign is doing exceptionally well. You know, there's enough people who are rallying around his cause that he did something fairly remarkable. But they certainly blew it up, and this has nothing to do with Kaepernick or
no, it doesn't.
The national anthem or anything else. We were talking earlier, but I mean, that's because this is just ducking and dodging from another shitty week of news for a shitty.
Yeah, when they were interviewing, I didn't get to tell you that this morning. They were interviewing on, I was watching Good Morning America, and they were talking to one of the White House correspondents, and you know, they said, what's your opinion or whatever, however she was reporting it, and she said, well, you know, this is typical Trump when he's trying to, you know,
deflect attention.
Yeah, off of another topic, because now they're trying to do healthcare again. You know, he's got other things going on that he doesn't want people to look at, so he can't. I mean, that's how every time they pass something in Congress that nobody wants anything to do with, it's because something else is going on, and you don't.
Facebook hand over the ads,
all the Russian ads,
yeah,
all the Russian ads,
And
30,000.
his brother-in-law is using his private email for government business.
And they're Ivanka.
Well, she had a private email, but they haven't found any of her emails that were government related. But Kushner for sure. And then, by all accounts, they are within weeks of indictments on a very wide range of things.
I just,
so
as soon as it hit Friday, I was like, he has got to be the stupidest person in the world. How many people do you know that go up against the NFL that actually win or come out looking good?
How many guys can change the conversation to the dumbest topics on earth on a dime like that? Like, really? And everybody goes, he's the president. Does he know what he's saying? He knows exactly what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he goes down to talk to a bunch of rednecks. Everybody's just and go, hey, guess what? I'm kind of with you, but I'm going to couch it in weird words. You know, so I don't seem to.
But we're saying that the song relates to dead people in wars. The kneeling relates to dead bodies in the streets.
So this is my problem, and this is what I thought was a legitimate point that I heard about the Kaepernick protest. And it was about time and place and setting. So if I'm Kaepernick, I'm thinking, well, this is the biggest stage I'm going to get. So, and that's the moment you do it, and I get it.
Well,
but the guy who it was another player. It was the guy actually from the Steelers who came out, Illinois, the Army Ranger guy.
Mm-hmm.
He said, listen.
And he didn't come all the way out. He stayed in the tunnel.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he was just outside the tunnel.
In the sense that they took a team vote and everybody agreed on both sides.
But you have to remember, he's a retired
Ranger. You gotta remember there were probably other people who wanted to make points too, and they agreed as a team and did a team vote. He should have stayed in the locker room. Personal opinion, but it doesn't matter. But his point was that last year he gave an interview where he said, it's not that I have any problem with people kneeling down during the national anthem. It doesn't bother me at all. Same, and he was a military dude like him. But he said the problem is going to be, Villanueva did the same guy. He goes, the problem with this is going to be that it's very quickly going to become about the national anthem and have nothing to do about cops being racist, which is what the movement is supposed to be about. But it's like, it's very, very quickly going to turn into, are you a patriot, are you not? Are you standing for the anthem, are you not?
Which is all we hear now.
That's what
changed the rhetoric.
As a marketing dude, it's a terrible, terrible marketing ploy, because he got attention for a while, but all the wrong kind of attention in the sense that his message was just stolen from him by somebody who's better at stealing it.
Which gets me back to the topic of last week's podcast, is that Trump is the king of the 3-card Monte.
Yes.
Like he's the ultimate hustler. He can swindle and hustle with the best of them, and hijacking what this particular protest was supposed to be about, and yeah, like you say, it's kind of insidiously brilliant, changing the national conversation to, you're not a patriot because you're not standing with your hand over your heart, you're taking a knee, and versus we're taking a knee against police brutality and police killings of innocent people. Yeah, because We are patriots, and that is the right of every patriot.
Right.
You know, I think the thing that bothers me so much is that there's been so many players that have been convicted of like horrible shit that are still playing. Mm-hmm. But Kaepernick takes a personal political stance, and he's basically blackballed from the league. Like, I think that bothers me more than anything else. You know, I'm not.
At this point, I doubt he is going to be. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I doubt any team's gonna pick him up.
It's too much of a distraction.
It's just too much PR behind it, and if the NFL is good for anything, and it's avoiding a bad PR if they can avoid it.
He's eligible for retirement, though, right?
Kaepernick?
How long was he in the league? Was he in over 3 years? That's when you start getting your pension.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
I think that's really a short amount of time, but I'm
Think of
sure.
the average lifespan of an NFL.
No, I mean, most people think 3 years and that's all it takes to get a pension. Okay, well, you go get your ass beat every.
Yep,
Well, and you gotta think he's probably been getting his ass kicked since Pee Wee League,
Right.
You know, so this is a lifetime of abuse on your body, and you know, so 3 years seems short, but it is really not.
I mean,
I was doing some reading earlier, and I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently Jared Kushner sent a tweet out to Goodell about, it's almost like kind of tongue-in-cheek, saying, hey, if you cared more about CTE and domestic violence.
Oh, Don Jr.
He did.
Yeah,
He did tweet it, and he said it's too bad you don't care as much about domestic violence and traumatic brain injury as you do about disrespecting the national anthem or the flag or whatever he used.
And I think that spoke volumes as well, and that was kind of, to your point, it's like, hey, he was just better at still in the conversation, still on the topic here, because that's a very serious issue. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's something that, I mean, I've heard that it's putting a damper on Pop Warner leagues all around the country right now, the CTE situation. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, what do you really do now? You know, because the conversation, obviously, it isn't about what it was meant to be about anymore. It's about the flag and about patriotism. But now Don Jr. is shining the light on, hey guys, let's get the CTE thing together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you have to get.
Been, what's the sport with the most CTE cases?
Soccer.
Really? By a mile and a half. It's not even close.
Really?
Yep.
Well, you hit how?
pads.
You constantly hitting a ball with your head. Even a chiropractor will tell you that soccer is one of the worst sports for kids to play because of the constant. They teach you how to hit it with your head.
I mean,
And it's just constantly, and spine damage too, because it just keeps.
Yeah, compressing your spine. Yeah.
It is just classic. Oh, I'm trying to do the right thing without ever thinking through all the consequences.
Yeah.
And that being the big one.
Yeah. I mean, so
Sports in general are bad for children. I mean, their bodies are still growing. They're bad physically for children. They're not bad for them. But I mean, both of my best friends' sons played Pop Warner, and they got injured and had concussions, and I mean, it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have 5 and 6 year olds out there hitting each other. I mean, it's supposed to be at a certain age. It's supposed to be flag and touch.
I just think that's dumb. I think the flag and touch football is a waste of people's time. It's like not people scoring basketball. It's just silly. Like, it teaches you other lessons too, besides just the physical side.
no, I definitely think that's true.
Yes, and I get that. But when you're from the age of 5 till 25, 30, you're constantly hitting your head. That's not a good thing.
Okay, well, you know, from 5 to 25, I'm sure I was riding a bike around and fell off a bunch. You
didn't hit your head into another object, though.
I'm sure I did. You know, you can't say from everything.
All right.
Like, if you're just
that's
wrap them up and
that's
blow
not
around
even a legitimate.
Like, that's the only option.
No, I know what you're saying. It's like you can't just coddle the kids. but I do think that there's. Yeah, I think my only real issue with the way American football is played is that they don't teach another type of takedown method. You know, like everything is tackle, and you're lunging with your head all the time, and that's gonna cause problems.
The only other way though would be going for the legs, and that's.
Then you have knee and broken legs and knee injuries.
Yeah. Well, you've got, you know, like in rugby, you know, they teach you kind of I forget what they spell. It's like a swoop and turn tackle. Like they swoop you and turn you down, versus like launching themselves at you like a missile. And I think that's the only thing I would want to see the NFL try to teach other styles of tackle that you know could you know give you less issues in the future. You know, I mean,
you have a hard time if you got a kid that's in the projects and he is just pissed off all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you got some kids that just come from a rough background.
Oh yeah, and
they take out all that frustration
on the field.
I've been in some. Ooh.
Yeah.
And for 2 hours, this kid is
your bell is wrong.
Everybody. I think he gave the whole team the concussion. But I mean, he was just that pissed off all the time. And I think you're going to have a hard time with guys who have that much pent up.
That much aggression.
From their environment to be on the field and for a game that's physical, and you're taught to be physical.
Right.
And you're taught that's how men express, you know, their exertion through their egos on the field.
Yeah.
If you don't knock them down, then you're a punk.
Yeah. Now you know what? Now that's a podcast we're definitely going to have is
Ego.
just the way you raise boys versus the way you raise girls, because you know as a boy, you know you're taught, you know, like you fall off your bike and you skin your knee. Yeah, stop all that crying. I'm gonna hit you in your chest. Stop. Like, you have and you learn really quick to suppress emotion, and you really wind up not knowing how to deal with any level of emotion at all, to tell you the truth, until you know you get older and have your own kids, and then all of a sudden you can't help yourself. You're like, why am I crying and bouncing a baby? I don't understand. like it's just like it's just all of a sudden you just have to deal with it, and that's just not something men are taught at all. Whereas you know women, you know, are generally taught to avoid aggressive contact altogether, and so you know you become emotionally vicious and catty to one another. Where you know, as we will knock each other the fuck out and then go have a beer afterwards. You know, somebody will wear your same skirt to work and you will hate her forever. Like I don't understand how that works. Like not you personally, but just women. But I have known women that have been mad at a woman for something quite just as petty, I will say. All right, so we gotta move forward. So the now infamous tweets of Trump from last week. The tweet where he was actually calling for firings and suspensions of anybody who's disrespecting our flag. And then, of course, him at the rally actually.
Well, he'll tell you he wasn't calling for him. He will tell you he was saying, "Wouldn't it be nice to see it?"
Yeah. Well, he also said back in our day we would have knocked him the fuck out. So
yeah,
you know, like he can.
I just want somebody to knock him the fuck out because I'm pretty sure that's never happened, and he doesn't really know what that means. Like you just need to be knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. But and then the whole during the rally, actually calling Cap a son of a bitch.
Well, he called anybody that was kneeling.
A son of a bitch.
But that was directed at Cap. Yeah.
Everybody knows that he said, "Hey, wouldn't you like to see these sons of bitches?"
Oh yeah. Now, although
I was even reading the article. I was reading an article about how he was just the way he was saying those people.
Oh yeah. It was,
people like you.
Well, it was in a room. It was in a rally, or I won't say rally. It was in a room full of all white people saying and using terms like those people.
The crazy black guy with the sign wasn't there?
No, the black guy. No, there was actually nobody behind him. There was nobody behind him. So
there was a wall.
There was no crazy. There was a wall, not people. And there was no crazy black guy with the sign.
It wasn't the border wall.
I have noticed the crazy black guy with the sign. I haven't mentioned him before because I have a complete theory on anybody who would be behind Trump going, yeah, I love him. But I did think it was fitting and hilarious that Cap's mother tweeted back, I guess I am one happy lucky bitch. if he's a son of a bitch, I guess I'm one happy lucky bitch. I was like, that's all right. I was like, that's what I expect from your mama. Like, I expect your mama to be like, oh, well, fuck that. You gonna call my baby.
He was adopted, wasn't he?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
He's biracial.
Yeah, he's biracial. I think he was adopted by
really affluent white guy.
Yeah. So,
which is always why I thought he was a strange poster boy for this particular
for the movement anyway. Yeah.
I don't know because he actually talked to a white player about he was just going to sit on the bench, and that white player said, "No, you should take a knee." So
I'm not disagreeing with the actual actions that he took.
Yeah.
He just strikes me as an odd poster boy.
Yeah.
Because he's not fully why though. Like
because I don't think he ever really encountered that many problems growing up.
It
Not the kinds of problems that he's talking about.
It was interesting. When I honestly, initially when he first started it, I had a huge question mark. And I was like, okay, you went from kissing your bicep when you scored a touchdown to the rumors of you sleeping with some of your teammates' wives or girlfriends, to now so you have this afro and this Malcolm X t-shirt. Where does this come from?
Yeah.
After you had a horrible season the year before,
right?
And now you have.
Is that what you mean, Chris?
And now you're showing it.
He was running a money game.
So initially,
felt a little three-car money-ish.
Some PR.
And that's how it felt at the beginning.
In the beginning, yeah.
You know, I kind of grew to realize that, you know, as I think most, in particularly black men do, you come to a place where you realize there is no way to separate. You know, I think the only guy who really firmly, mentally separated himself, and look what happened to him, was O.J. Simpson. You know, because he most famously said, "I'm not black, I'm O.J."
Well, you go back to Ali, who was very strong mentally.
Yeah.
And he took it. I mean, they stripped him of his belt. They took away all his licenses.
Which actually gets me to
really quick. How do you guys feel about Ray Lewis taking 2 knees? I just thought that was odd.
He's just dramatic.
Yeah, I just thought that seemed money-ish too.
Yeah, I'm just like, why you kneeling?
Yeah, because he thrashed everybody a couple weeks ago in the media.
And he went to Trump Tower or whatever and met with Trump beginning of his administration.
I mean, he's another tough one because again, he barely beat the murder rap after the Super Bowl.
And played guilty.
To a certain extent.
Which gets me back to all these players who've been convicted for things or have had seriously alleged crimes against them. They're still playing. You're like, what the hell? But yeah, and that also got me to thinking about. So I remember hearing somebody say not recently that like players need to just be players, and we were looking at something last night where it was somebody on Fox News that was just saying, America has afforded you all these things, and you've become wealthy and you've become famous because of it, and it's how disrespectful but it got me to thinking about the fact that the athlete activist is not new at all. You just talked about Muhammad Ali, and I took down a couple of names. Kind of famously, Ali. We had Russell. Basketball. That he he was seriously into activism. You know, Jim Brown back in the day, Jesse Owens. You know, and you know, and outside of racial equality battles, you know, you had like Billie Jean King, you know, who you know stood up, you know, as an activist for women, you know, and so I'm like, you know, these sports celebrities being an activist is not new, and not new to American culture whatsoever, you know. So I wonder why now, which gets me back to my original question. What's so wrong with taking a knee? Because, you know, it would be different if no athlete in the history of sports has ever stood up for a cause.
I just got a text from Dave. He's in New Hampshire, that's why he's not here. But he said his opinion on the NFL.
This is Big Dave out there for you podcast now who don't know.
If you want to sit, that's your choice, but get your ass into your community and make a difference. That's
I think Kaepernick's pretty clearly working on that.
That's Dave's opinion.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna say
I'm actually a little surprised by that. I thought he might feel differently.
Yeah, you and me both actually. You and me both actually. You know what, you gave a number for yesterday. How many for the weekend? How many players was it?
So what I read, and I think we're reading the same article, so if I'm wrong, just tell me, but it was 9 the week before, and then this week it was 182, wasn't it?
Yeah, they said over 100. I didn't hear the actual number, but they said
it was
over
182.
108 owners.
How many?
They said
8 owners.
8
Yeah,
owners.
108 owners. That's a hell of a lot of owners.
8 owners came down on the
came
field.
down on the field, locked arms with their teams, and
But then what was the stat that you read too?
About the how much money they gave to Trump? It was 7.25 million.
Yeah, I saw a list of a bunch of
there,
owners
yeah.
that donated $1 million each.
They donated, I guess, technically to the
72
inaugural
million, I think.
fund. And
That's
besides
why-
over and above the
right.
political
I
fund.
guess that's why I was saying who's ever gone up against the NFL and came out looking good, because
Well,
they
not
tend to.
They look disingenuous right now.
I'm trying to follow the money.
well, yeah, well they all almost all donated to Trump.
Yeah, if you're an old billionaire, Robert Kraft was very publicly friends with, and so is Tom Brady, which I just laugh at Tom Brady's statement, which is, well, I mean, his words are kind of divisive. I mean, I guess I don't agree with them. My God, they just want to have it both ways. They don't want to come down too hard on him because they don't want to piss him off, and lose that connection. But you're also going to be, well, this isn't right, I think.
So I have a question. What do you guys think about LeBron's comment about? Did you guys see it?
Well, there were two. There was the tweet where calling him a bum, and then he gave a long press
Well,
conference.
not the bum, but he did tweet too about the going to the White House was an honor until you came along.
Yeah, there was that, and then he made another point about congratulations on canceling or barring stuff from the White House when he didn't want to go anyway.
Right. Yeah, which is where
It was
that
like
started.
there was no invitation to rescind because he had already
He said he
declined
He
it.
said he wasn't ever going for you.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
And then he gave a great press conference today, which was very well thought out.
Well, wasn't he the one that spoke at the ESPY Awards?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it was him and
But he had the long speech about doing, using your platform to.
You would kind of expect that
Influence
from him,
kids.
though. I mean, that's just kind of honestly the leader of the NBA.
Yeah, I was like, he's
You
like,
expect it, but
And
it's
honestly,
very.
too, as a major activist. I mean, he really is. If you saw any of his show that he did that was on CNBC where they went into Cleveland and took different parts of the city. And I mean, single-handedly is reviving this entire community there. It was a great show. And again, some of it's publicity. And then
But why does
some
it
of it's
take something
like
like this for people to actually speak out publicly? Like fully publicly about things?
I don't know that people haven't spoken. I'm just thinking, what does it take for somebody to start paying attention to it? Well, it takes an idiot president to start running his mouth. I think, again, like you were saying, your Facebook was blowing up all last year, and you said it wasn't new. A ton of people were talking about it. It was a big topic of conversation.
A ton of everyday people were talking about it, not people that,
consider ourselves pretty
to Adrian's
people.
point, not people that have that large of a platform to speak.
Well, if you're Tom Brady and you're sitting there thinking, I have millions of dollars in endorsement deals, do I really want to piss off, those guys for 10 people that want to?
Well, he still didn't. You just said, he was like, I guess I don't agree with that.
I agree. And this is why I think he's trying to have it both ways, but I can understand why he didn't do it last year. If you got millions of dollars on the line, I'd be like, well, let me think this one through a little bit. I don't know what he particularly gains. But now he stands to lose really badly if he doesn't say anything.
Exactly right.
I don't know.
Exactly.
At some point, he's got enough money that I don't know. I just think that if you really feel that way and you're passionate about it, you say it.
You can't come out and say whatever you want on every topic under the sun. This is one bad topic in the world, and I would agree. But think of all the terrible topics that are out there in the world. How boring would it be if they just came out every single time and had to make a stupid statement? I don't care.
It would be like the Oscars.
It's like when musicians start talking or other artists, like Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't give a shit what you think. They're a bunch of nitwits. And I'll give you a classic example. Like all those people in St. Louis protesting right now, I guarantee you not a single one read the 30-page decision on the case. And it's not that I agree with the cop shooting the kid. If you actually read the decision, if they had gone for second-degree murder, it's a slam dunk. The guy went, and I only know this because my sister is a lawyer there who knew the judge. It was classic overreach from a prosecutor. It was a slam dunk second-degree murder case, and that guy's doing time right now. But you can't have it both ways. You can't have a system with laws and then not follow those laws and not put it in the system. The correct thing would have been file second-degree murder charges, and that dude's in jail. This is what I mean. You can't be an activist without actually studying the cause.
Well, I think the funny thing about anybody who really like a cause hits home for them, and I'm trying to remember what the movie was, but we were watching it, and the lawyer was like, "Look, it's not a good idea. What you want to do isn't a good idea. It's not winnable. This is what we can get this." And I think for a lot of people, they're like, "Well, no, I want the fullest extent of the law," and then okay, we'll go for it. And then when you don't get it, and then the system doesn't work. Well, actually, they tried to tell you that wasn't gonna work in the first place.
Well, and egos get involved, and people, piss me off, so I'm going to prosecute you to.
The prosecutor doesn't lose either way. The way it came out right now, since nobody actually studied the decision that the guy made and knows that he should just file second-degree murder charges, it just looks like a corrupt judge passed down a shitty sentence, regardless of the facts. Mm-hmm. When probably this is a dude who was trying to make a name for himself so he could climb the ranks, and become governor or whatever he wants to be, later in life. A lot of them start as prosecutors.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to be a federal judge at some point. Well, this would be a great case to have on your resume, But when you start doing that shit and it doesn't work.
Well, don't prosecutors need to win their case to?
Well, so here's the thing. With the public backlash on this one, I don't think anybody's thinking, did the prosecutor win or lose? I think they're saying that judge is a piece of shit, and this is just another example of, an American judge in the Midwest being a racist asshole. Like, no, there's well-established legal boundaries here that you have to prove these points to go for first-degree murder versus second-degree murder.
Yeah.
They're very specific.
And there's less time.
I have criminology, I know.
There's less time to be given for second-degree murder, and I think people want people to go to jail for life, and emotionally, I want every cop who's murdered an unarmed person to get locked up as long as physically possible, But I will say, if I can get you in jail for 10 years, or don't get you in jail at all, I'll put you in for 10 years because you're not going to fare well against the inmates. so
and the other part is
the likelihood of you escaping whole is low.
What would have happened on the flip side is he would have gotten the maximum sentence. and never had a chance at parole. Because who wants to be the guy who let that guy out of jail?
Exactly.
You know, and so I think it's just a massive screw up on this part. But it's interesting. I mean, it ties in a little bit in the sense that, again, if you're going to have a cause, which is why I hate like Leonardo DiCaprio so much. Like, don't tell me about trees and shit, and then fly a private plane all across the world. You know, spreading in all kinds of toxic shit.
Dave
It's
says, look at Anquan Bolden, is that his name?
No.
Receiver.
For the Niners?
Oh,
As an example, he's still voicing his opinion.
anyway.
To the getting your ass in your community.
Yeah. Anyway, since he is not here, we can only read his opinion from text. We're going to move on.
Yes. But I told him I would voice it. So
And that, and the last piece.
Hold on a second real quick, because
Yeah.
this was kind of funny and ties in. What was that line that Sarah Huckabee Sanders said today? About, it was something about the cops at the game or something. Do you remember that? She was like, if you really want to protest this,
right.
the national anthem or whatever is the way to do it, you should be protesting to the face of the cops who are on the field to protect you. You know, like, why don't you go to their face and protest them? You know, and it was never, I mean, I think it's a stupid point.
Yeah.
But it was just her dancing and watching her try to deflect everything was one of the funniest pieces of TV I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you
the
know,
Sean Spicer replacement.
She's the new Sean.
Yeah.
It's Huckabee,
Shit,
Mike
I
Huckabee's
can't.
kid.
Yeah,
You know,
oh my
you know
gosh,
what's
no
interesting.
wonder I
You know
don't
what's
like her.
interesting as now that Spicer's out and he's kind of been making the talk show rounds. You know, it's interesting because it's something that I did know, but you tend to forget on this side of the TV. It's not Sean Spicer's job to tell the absolute truth as the general public knows it. His job is to parrot what the White House wants him to say. And so, every so often, which is why I think Sean Spicer was so bad at it.
He's not a good liar.
Well, yeah. I don't think sometimes these press secretaries believe what they're saying, but they have to say it because that's what the White House wants them to say. And then there's some people that believe this crap, you know, and that's when you get the Huckabees and the what's the other woman's name that I cannot stand right now on Trump's team.
Kellyanne Conway.
It's like every so often you get those people, and you know they believe this crap. Like they really believe. And,
I just don't understand her either, though.
Well, no, because she's just as bad and complicit to me as Trump is on any of these subjects, because I can tell when she's saying this stuff, she believes what she's saying. Whereas Sean Spicer, I think he got so kind of angry with the reporters because he didn't believe it, so he didn't want to have to stand up there and keep defending it because I don't even believe this shit any damn way. He told me to say it, and I almost rather them start the press conferences with, these are the things the White House wants me to say. Because that way the press knows it's not you. It's the White House, because that is your job.
The press knows that. It's the general public that forgets it.
Which is kind of my thing, you know. I'm like, because at the end of the day, but I will say, I can't remember the last time we've had these types of issues out of the press secretary before. You know, like even the press secretaries in previous administrations have seemed to know. I can't say that, and they don't, you know, or they soft pedal
leadership.
Which, you know, it's funny. I always think of that movie, Remember the Titans, and every time something happens, and we get a Charlottesville, or we get, you know, any of these kind of racially charged. Rallies or uprisings or whatever, you know, I always remember that line from Remember the Titans, you know, and attitude reflects leadership, you know. If there's an asshole at the top, everybody turns into an asshole, because either you're an asshole that believes what the asshole at the top is saying, or you have to become an asshole to combat the assholes on the other side. And it's not good for anybody. You know, everybody's fighting and divisive, and for little to no reason. But let's move on to the last point in this segment, and this is allegedly, because I have not seen proof yet, but I have heard a lot this week that one of the big no thank yous that went out was Jay-Z turning down the opportunity to perform at the Super Bowl. And allegedly, of course, him turning it down was because with all of the protests going on, he was not going to then, you know, lend his voice to, because the only way at that point you can lend your voice is to start or make your entire show into a big protest, which of course the NFL then wouldn't want you to be performing in the first place. They just want you to come do the hits. And I've also heard he's turned down the Super Bowl before, you know. So I can actually believe that this might be true. You know, his wife did do the Super Bowl, but she kind of turned her entire performance. She didn't say anything specific, but she kind of turned her entire performance into a form of protest in a very very subtle way, and I thought that was interesting. But you know, Jay turning it down, I thought was interesting. And once again, I don't know if that's true, but if it is true, I definitely can understand why he would do it. I mean, he is notoriously on the player side. Especially having player agency, you know, that he manages several players.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I would doubt that it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd just be like, you know, at that point he's a sports agent. It's the same reason I had to give up his share of the Nets.
And share the Nets, Yeah, so yeah, I would.
A huge conflict of interest.
Well, exactly.
It's going to be hard for any entertainer of color, whether you're Hispanic, black, or whatever.
And
for anybody to perform at this year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't you think it is the perfect opportunity to do it, though?
I think the NFL wants more control of what you say.
Yeah.
Even with all the owners now protesting or
the
saying
owners
they're
are
protesting.
they're full of crap.
Well, it goes
We
that way.
understand that, but they might just
they-
because
they-
they're pushed by Trump.
Well, they want their
So
ratings
far.
back. You know, their ratings have been slipping all season, and they just want their ratings back. And you know, with the way that it's going, this is looking like this may be one of the lower rated Super Bowls, you know, in recent years. And yeah, to a get like a Jay-Z would be huge for the Super Bowl, and they would be guaranteed a massive ratings boost. But I don't know any artists, like say artists of color, that really would do it. Not now, not this year. But who knows? I mean,
Especially if they don't let you have your voice.
Right.
yeah.
Right. But if you're a unifier or you're protesting something, hypothetically, Jay-Z should actually, I feel, take a stand and do it, because I mean, I know the NFL is going to suppress you, but you're just being there says a lot too. It's not saying you're pro NFL, you might be pro Kaepernick taking a knee. I mean, you might be, and you're saying that they wouldn't allow that, but I feel like just him being there would say a lot.
I mean, honestly, the only way he could do that show and save face with his fan base is to perform in a Kaepernick jersey. Like, that's literally the only way he could save face with his fan base, because his fan base would be furious if he did it too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't see
agree.
his fan base agreeing with him, because Jay is notoriously, because he's always rapped about aspirational wealth and stuff like that. So he's always had a segment of his actual fan base that has opposed him even being fans of him because of his content. So now they're like, oh, it was a money grab, you know, for him doing it. And that's what they'd be thinking. So the only way he could do it is he did his whole set in a Kaepernick
Or if he
jersey.
wasn't paid. How about if he wasn't paid to do it?
Well, that would just be crazy.
Yeah, and then who's going to do
Jay-Z's
it?
not going to do that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Jay-Z doesn't wake up without a check. I'm like, he owns a color. Like, literally.
They're gonna bring back whatever Beatle is still alive, and they'll do All You Need Is Love, and then that'll be it.
And that's exactly what I'm thinking.
It'll be a song
Stu or something.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's gonna be some real
commercials this year.
There's gonna be some really good
It's gonna be
commercials.
Britney Spears.
Hey, it's Britney, bitch. See, it all comes back. So with that, we'll be right back. Hey, you having a good time? Let me introduce you to a couple of my media brothers. First, www.americathemixtape.com, a cipher on American politics, society, and culture. And where'd I get that mixtape? Of course, www.cornerbodega.us, purveyors of urban culture. Come on, let's get back to the party. All right, so we are back, and before we get out of here, let's talk about today's sugar honey iced tea. And for those that don't know, these are things that I or a member of the group have found that are really cool, aka the shit. And this week's sugar honey iced tea is massage. So last week, one of the questions we had in the party game was one thing that you may not know about somebody. And one of the things that you may not know is that I and the anonymous female every other week-ish go and have massages. That sounds luxurious, but really we go for...
We go and get tortured for an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So we go for deep tissue, way more therapeutic than relaxing. And they basically beat up on you, and you feel like you've been run over by a truck for a couple of days, and then you feel better. But that got me to thinking. One, the fact that you go and you feel like you got ran over by a truck, but you feel better in a day or two. And that got me to thinking, maybe that's what America needs right now. Maybe America needs a massage. Calm down, relax. You know, I got to thinking, here's some benefits of massage. So you have one of the biggest reasons is pain relief. You know, and we are emotionally, as a nation, feeling quite a bit of pain. And then there's stress relief. That goes without saying. That pain for all of us is due to a heightened sense of stress because of the way that our society is working right now that we don't like. You know, it increases circulation, and anytime you can get your blood flowing and pumping, you're gonna feel better and more energetic. You know, it boosts your immunity. So maybe we can fend off some of these things that's giving us these stresses, and maybe we can not pay as close attention to some of these idiotic tweets. And you know, it lowers your blood pressure, which ties right back to the stress, because if you're stressed out, your blood pressure's up, and that leads to the pain. So as you see where I'm going, as it relaxes, you know, your muscles and your mind, and it rehabilitates injuries, and it flushes out, you know, toxins that are in your body, you know, maybe America just needs a really good massage. You know, calm the stress, calm the body, calm the mind, get rid of all this excess shit in our systems. And maybe we can calm down and get back to a place where we're just talking to each other and not yelling at each other or the TVs.
Not for 4 years, baby.
But with that, I'm going to end this podcast in the way I end all podcasts, and that is with the toast that started it all for me, and that is to good times with good people.